focused on the reframe. So there's a lot to do in these 25 to 30 minutes. So you have to make sure you're getting enough information, but it's also brief. So we go in joining with the family by talking about the strengths. We go in saying, adolescent, what are you good at? What do you like to do? What's your favorite subject in school? Do you play any sports? We look for the strengths for the adolescent and the strengths for the parent as well. This serves several purposes. First, focusing on the strengths at the beginning puts the family at ease. So our adolescents come in and they might have come just out of the hospital and they're used to focusing on the symptoms, their attempts, and what has gone wrong in their lives. And when we step up and say, well, what are you good at? What strengths do you offer? We are shifting the frame to help them be able to engage more. And this sets the precedent for the adolescent to engage throughout the therapeutic process. So we want to start out with them in a positive way. It also helps us to get to know the family. We oftentimes use metaphors in our therapy and link them to the adolescent and parents' lives. And we can do that if we understand what they like to do and what they're good at. We also have key ideas of what the adolescent does when he or she is feeling better. So for example, we've had adolescents that have really enjoyed art class or really enjoyed soccer and have stopped doing that because they're depressed. And when we see that the kid is engaged in those activities again, we know, okay, they're getting better, they're improving. Also, we often use some of the strengths in Task 5, and we'll talk a little bit more about Task 5 later. But one of the most interesting parts about focusing on the strengths first is that we can understand what that interaction looks like between the parent and child. If we can, ask the adolescent, what are you good at, and the parent is engaged in talking about what the adolescent is good at, we say, wow, they have some connection left over in here. But if the adolescent or the parent responds to the adolescent by focusing on the negative, oh, well, you haven't done ballet in a long time. Why are you talking about that? We know that there's a little bit more work to do in that relationship. So it's kind of an assessment tool as well, focusing on the strengths. So once we start there with the strengths, we then move on into the context of the adolescent and the parent's life. We want to know where they go to school, where the parents work, what the family dynamic is like, what wider systems involvement is like. We want to get the lay of the land for what's going on with the family. This is where we really have to be balanced. We don't want to get too much information where it becomes all an assessment session, but we want to get enough so we understand what is happening in the context of the family. And the purpose for this is not only do we want to understand the family we're working with, but we don't want things to pop up in the relational reframe when we're wanting to focus them on the relationship. When we don't do thorough lay of the land, sometimes the adolescent or parent will bring up, well, my grandpa's living in the home and we all have to take care of him. He's not doing well, he has some illnesses. And we don't want that to be the focus when we get on later into the relational reframe part. So that's one of the reasons why we do a thorough assessment there. Then after we get that, we move on to understanding the depression and the suicidal ideation. So